So Donegal 122, Armagh 13 points. A comprehensive win in the end for Donegal. 13 different scores today. And I'm here with Patrick from the GA Zone podcast. Yeah, Patrick, you must be delighted after that result anyway.
Yeah, very delighted. Look, I thought we were going to win it, but to win it by the way we did and the score we did it, and I'm just quite proud of how Donegal played today. And yeah, we blew them out of the water, and yeah, I can't. Even in the last 10 years, we've been to nine. This is the ninth Ulster final in the last 10 years. Yeah, I don't think 10 years down the line I'll ever experience anything like it. And yeah, look, it's just good to see it, and we've another Ulster final.
And I suppose, what do you put it down to, in that first half dominance? Because obviously, like when you kind of looked on Twitter, a lot of people were saying maybe Armagh were really poor and afraid and weren't kind of up for the fight. But how good was that Donegal performance in the first half? Because as we said before, 13 different scores in the entire game. I think they had 8 different scores in the first half. Just so much talent across the entire pitch for Donegal.
Yeah, the one was brilliant, and the one was a big factor. We had it on our half, but we took our chances, and the fact that we used the one so much to our advantage, we put ourselves in a position where Armagh, it would be remarkable if they managed to come back in the second half. So it was that good of what we done, So yeah, just taking advantage simply of what we have, and yeah. They really came out better in the second half. Armagh, I thought definitely, they got more men scoring. That wasn't Rian O'Neill, but look, whatever. We pulled through and we got 13 different scores. So, yeah, quite happy with it.
Yeah, and I think it's game management from Donegal as well. Even in that second half, there were 12 points up at half time, and they still ran out 12-point winners, even though Armagh were able to, get Jamie Clark and even Conor Turbot more involved as well. Who would you say was your man of the match in this game? Plenty of players to choose from Donegal.
Michael Langan. Yeah, look. I don't want to sound cliche, but it really was a 15 Donegal, and yeah, look, Keelan McGonigal for him, good, my own club man. There's multiple other players. Michael Murphy, he might not have, he's not scoring all the points, but he's a bit kind of the bait for Armagh. They're throwing 2 men on top of him. And that goal Patrick Morgan scored, when they threw 2 men on top of him, he just ran through them and just, yeah, remarkable goal. And, but I think I'm going to go with Michael Langan. Made a lot of good runs, scored some good points. And he was just a dominant player. And, yeah, I think, is really coming into it and really maturing as a player. And certainly a very good performance from him. And, yeah, if I had to choose, it would be Michael Langan, but credit will have to go to the other 14 players in the Donegal shirts too.
Yeah, Michael Langan was superb in this game. Kicked 3 points, really well-rounded performance. And I suppose how good is it the fact that, because obviously in the past with most maybe neutral fans, maybe you don't think this from a Donegal point of view, but I'd say most neutral fans kind of watching would always think of Donegal and Michael Murphy as their main man, their main player, their main talisman. Obviously, he kicked 2 points in the game. 2 of them were from frees, and he didn't even kick his first point until the 50th minute. Now, I still think he had a great game. He was brilliant defensively. But how good is it the fact that now you have so many other options in that team? The likes of Caleb McGonigal chipping in with points, Hugh McFadden, Padder Mogan, and obviously Paddy McBrearty coming off the bench as well. So it must feel good in that sense that you just have so many options now.
Yeah, look, I think we've come to the position now where we have the squad depth, the likes of Owen Gallagher and Jason McGee came in Rory Gallagher's final year, so we didn't really do too much that year because we were that team in transition, and next 2 years, we won the Ulster titles, we're good enough, probably not good enough to compete for the All-Ireland, but I think it's just we've came to the position where everybody, Michael Murphy, even though he's 31, he's still on his peak, and the rest of them are all in their peak. So I think it's just good. We're in that year now where everybody's in their peak, but maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, look, McGee is 45 now, so he probably might not even be there next year. But look, it was an impressive performance from every individual, and I think it's just all to do with the age profile of the team. I think is why we're so good. The talent was always there.
And like, what do you think there's any real like weakness in this Donegal side at the moment? Because I was even trying, like, looking through that game, I was trying to think of like, obviously, like Dublin physically are a very physical team as well, and that will certainly be a very physical battle if they do end up playing each other, which you'd have to feel they probably will in an All Ireland semi, especially from here.
Mm.
So like, is there many weaknesses? Maybe Stephen McManaman going off injured. Is that maybe the only real concern from a Donegal point of view?
Yeah, look, Stephen McManaman, a fantastic, fantastic footballer, really, really top-notch player. There was worries. Was he probably carrying injury going in? Like going off in the first 10 minutes is never easy. But yeah. Look, if we can get Stephen McManaman back to full fitness, we won't have much weaknesses. But even seeing with Stephen McManaman, we have Brendan McCole who didn't even get on the pitch today. I don't think. And Brendan McCole, sure, he was the captain of that DCU team that won the Sigerton Cup. He is a fantastic, fantastic footballer. So, like, we have a lot of quality off the bench, and maybe, like, or McFadden Ferry is a defender who's went off now on peacekeeping missions out in Lebanon. So maybe he's off for the year. But look, we're still, a top team. And I don't know what can come to us, because, but, like, maybe with the way we're living on it, and I don't want to make Donegal fans nervous, but COVID-19 cases, if there's an outbreak within the team or something and you have multiple key players off, then that could definitely rock the boat. But look, I'm happy with what we have.
And I suppose, is there any real preference for who you play in the Ulster final, or is this just, it shouldn't really matter regardless? I mean, you'd have to, you'll go in as serious favourites. I know Jim McGuinness on Sky there was trying to play it down a bit. Of course he would. Obviously he's a Donegal man. He doesn't want, too much hype to go for the Donegal team. But I mean, you'd have to be fairly confident now. Like, you've come through probably the two toughest tests in Ulster, reasonably comfortably. Tyrone, little tricky at times, but yeah, you'd have to be super confident now going in against either Down or Cavan.
Yeah, look, that's the way it is. Like, but look, we live in 2020 and there's no backdoor this year. So, in previous years, a lot of these smaller teams would maybe focus on maybe the next round of the qualifiers, maybe try their best, but like they kind of have the qualifiers to their mind. But now, kind of whoever it be, Cavan or Down, they are going to throw the kitchen sink at us, and Jason McLaughlin, they have one of the best cornerbacks in the country in Cavan, I think. And Mickey Graham, famous for that Mullinact one. That man's a very smart man, and Paddy Talley, very good manager, and you need to look it down, Kilcoo got to the All-Ireland final. So there's clearly a lot of quality, and even at that, Kilcoo have tough competition and down from a few players from Byrne and even and Warren Point too. So, Down certainly have a lot of quality on their day, and yeah, bringing a lot of momentum from their promotion and beating Fermanagh last week.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. I suppose after what happened in the Cork Kerry game, I think that's kind of a massive lesson now that, like, there's no sure thing, there's no given that the fact that certain teams are going to win. But you'd have to fancy Donegal. Like, they're definitely going in as serious favourites.
You would. After we are serious favourites, and probably the way we managed to win quite comprehensively, we are doing, and Cavan are a bit under strength. You're a bit unlucky with a few injuries, but never say never. This is football, and it was 2017, wasn't it? Where Down knocked out Monaghan.
I think it was, yeah.
Monaghan were overwhelming favourites going into that game, and they were overwhelming favourites going in against Cavan this year and last year. So, definitely, we are not, the favourites tag means nothing, and there's no such thing as an easy game in Ulster football.
Yeah, I would caveat that though and say at the same time, Monaghan are just the team that just clearly, for whatever reason, in the big, coming up against lesser teams, they just seem to crumble quite a lot. Donegal, there's no evidence to suggest that they're going to do that. Like, when you look, even what they played for Fermanagh in 2018, you're like, maybe, it's kind of a similar situation going in against a team that you should comfortably be beaten, and Donegal won that, very comfortably in the end. So would fully expect Donegal to win the Ulster title once again, 3 years in a row. I suppose before we kind of finish up, obviously, you do have your own podcast, the GA's own podcast. I've seen you set up a YouTube channel there now as well. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah. It's Yeah, look, it's just it's not named J Zone podcast, it's just J Zone. I just you know, it's going to be irrelevant now because it was me and Kieran Cunningham. He's the chief sports writer of the Irish Daily Star. We were previewing the Donegal VR game, but now that game's over and done with. It's just kind of doesn't really make that much sense now because, but look, there's few other, I might throw a few other podcast interviews, maybe some with you, maybe some with Dari. We'll see how that goes, and there'll be other players, managers, journalists, pundits, fans, whatnot, and yeah, we'll see what happens, and hopefully, I'm definitely not. It done a lot better than a lot of my podcasts on Spotify, so there seems to be an.
Oh, I have you back there now. Sorry, I think just broke up a little bit there, but yeah, no. Even what I'll do is I'll link I'll link that channel down below, and yeah, obviously people who regularly view my channel anyway will have seen your face a couple of times, so I'm sure they'll be able to go over there and subscribe. So yeah, anyway, cheers Patrick for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Yeah.